Action.
All right, all right. Welcome to Strength We Trust, officially episode 1. I guess we can call it that, right?
Now, I mean, I guess so.
We
But
could- we
this
could-
is episode 2, man. We making progress.
We're making progress. We're on
Episode
2
1,
right
we
now.
did the intro. Episode 2, we here now.
Now you're in episode 1.
Exactly.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, that was the pilot. Now this is
Strength We
episode
Trust.
1.
Let's set it
Let's
up. right,
get
my
into
brother?
it.
Let's get it, bro. You already know. So look, welcome everybody. It's happy to finally have everything set up here, and really looking forward to just promoting what we're doing here, giving you guys great information, great feedback, and let's go and break this thing down for 'em
Yeah,
real
let's
quick.
get into it. It's time
Absolutely.
to get into it.
Time to get into it. So look, we want to start off. Just want to lay it out for everybody, right?
Yeah.
What is the definition of strength, right? That's what we're here for, right?
Yep.
Strength we trust. This is it. This is our driving force. This is what we got to talk about. And so it's the capacity of an object, right, to withstand force, right? And we can dive into that a million different ways. But
Yeah.
that is pretty much what we're going to predicate a lot of what we're doing here, right?
Yep.
And we want to educate you guys on how we're going to break that down. So we're going to start off with different types of strength, how they apply to you, how they apply to others, and everything like that.
Yeah. So, real quick, there are 4 classifications of strength. You have absolute strength, you have relative strength, you have explosive strength, and then you have the last one is strength endurance. So think of absolute strength like 1 rep max. Think of your power lifters. Then you have relative strength. Think of gymnasts.
Yep.
They do incredible things with their body weight. I'll never forget I would always know when a client was an ex-gymnast because they would just do like stupid strong stuff. Like they would be like, guy maybe like 5'4", $130 soaking wet, but doing lateral raises with like 50-pound dumbbells. And I'm like,
Exactly.
nope, you're a gymnast.
You're a gymnast.
Right?
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, or a woman walking in
Your capacity to do things is just
with your body weight, like it just doesn't make sense.
doesn't
You're
make
just
sense.
moving like 3x your body weight. It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Then you have explosive strength. Think of Olympic lifters. If you don't know what Olympic lifters are, they'll take 500 pounds and put it over their head in one move. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
And then you have strength endurance. Think of your CrossFit athletes. They just have a motor. They just keep going at a high capacity with minimal rest, minimal drop off over time. So
Absolutely.
those are your basic breakdowns of the different types of strength.
Right. And I think we should dive into your absolute strength first, and
Yeah.
we can break things down one by one.
Yep.
Right. And how they can apply to everybody.
Yep.
Right. So in terms of your absolute strength, like you said, it's your ability to move really, really heavy weight.
One time.
One time.
One time for the one time.
Right. That's it. One time. Right. So we're talking to your power lifters, right?
Yeah.
Your guys that are in there squatting, benching, deadlifting.
That's it.
That's what they do.
That's what
right?
they do.
And again, we're going to go through all 4 because we want to make sure that we're hitting all the categories here.
So you understand, because we want you to
understand.
understand what it looks like, and what training for that looks like, and how that has carryover.
Absolutely, right? So when it comes to absolute strength, right, their premise behind it is I need to move this amount of weight one time, rest for 2 to 3 minutes at a time, repeat the process.
I never forget when I got introduced to this type of programming, because it was sweet. And I do 3 to 5 reps, and I just sit there.
That's it.
It was amazing.
Pull up a lawn chair, have
Yep.
a sip of your drink, go do it again in 3 minutes, call it a day after that.
That's it.
Exactly.
5 by 5s all day.
All day, right? So, and that's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? Because their objective at the end of the day is I just want to get really freaking strong on 3 lifts. They don't care about any accessory work,
Nope.
right? There's not a lot of mobility work that gets trained into that. It's pick this thing up, put this thing down.
Yep. And you see what they look like.
Exactly. Y'all know what the power lifters look like.
No shade. I know there's some fit ones. I mean, not fit. Fit is the wrong word, but
Exactly.
aesthetically,
Exactly.
I know there's some outliers, but generally speaking,
We know
they
what they
have a
look
certain
like.
look.
Exactly. And that's fine, right? So now moving on now, all right, we have like your explosive strength, right?
Yeah, those Olympic lifters.
And that is for particularly my world.
That's what he does.
That is my world, what I practice. And my objective is to move heavy load as well,
Super fast.
but really fast and really explosive. And we travel a lot of ground.
Yeah.
Right?
And if you want to think about like doing this with body weight, think of like Mike Tyson. If he was to turn into you with a punch, like it's a lot of force. He generates a lot of force in a short amount of time.
Absolutely.
That's explosive strength.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what we're talking about, right? Is your ability to move something really fast with just some heavy load on top of you. That's all it is, right? At the end of the day. And the way we program for that, right, is yes, we're working on the lower volume and scale things, but we do a few more reps than they do. And we
Yep.
don't rest as appropriately as the power lifters do as well. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? So we'll do sets of 3, sets of 5, things of that nature. We focus on big compound lifts. We don't do a lot of single joint work, right? We'll do cleans, power cleans, hang cleans, snatches, squats, deadlifts.
Do swings. Swings are also applicable.
Absolutely.
Broad jumps,
Absolutely.
that kind of
Box
stuff.
jumps,
Box
anything that has to do with a lot of force production, right? And your ability to just produce power.
Yeah.
That's really all we're looking at there.
Yep. So now we just have relative strength
And then
and strength endurance.
Right. So go ahead and you can do your relative strength.
So
Take that
relative strength, like I said, like you think gymnasts. I don't know. Like lots of the calisthenics guys, the barbell guys, the bartenders.
Yeah.
Oh my God, when the bartenders exploded, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to just be able to move my body weight and that a way to train relative strength. There are different ways, types of yoga practices where you're holding these poses for 3 to 5 minutes. I don't know if you've ever tried isometrics for even like a minute, 2 minutes of just holding a position where your muscles are under tension, but it's brutal. It's brutal. There's a reason you don't see a lot of people doing it, but it's a really good way to train because that creates the least amount of inflammatory damage, as a byproduct of that work that you're doing. So it's a really cool way to insert some different types of stresses on your body without pounding your joints. And now the last part of it is going to be
You have your strength endurance.
strength endurance, right?
Right. So your ability to perform for extended periods of time, right? We're not talking about your 10 seconds of work. We're not talking about your 30 seconds of work, right? If you're looking for like the CrossFit athletes that we were talking about, right? They're working big compound movements. They're working sprints. They're doing everything that we said in the previous 3, and they're doing it for extended periods of time. So they're squatting, they're deadlifting, they're cleaning, they're jumping, they're running, they're doing isometrics, they're doing calisthenics. So they're compounding everything that we just spoke about, and they're doing it continuously, right? So something to break it down, they'll have your 10-minute EMOMs. Everybody knows, or everybody should know later on. We'll teach you.
EMOM stands for every minute on the minute if you're not familiar.
There you go. Exactly. So you're performing an exercise at the top of every minute for an extended period of time. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever the case may be. And that's a big basis in programming for those strength endurance athletes. I use it as a great tool for my conditioning work as well, right? It's a great way to, at the end of a workout, right? We are both know, right? If you're looking for some type of fat loss, where are you going to perform most of your conditioning work at? Before or after? After, right? For the most part. And so a lot of those athletes, that's kind of how they program. Personally, that's how I program for myself. And I think it's a great tool. It's not for everybody.
No, it's not for everybody.
Definitely not for everybody. I will say, if there is a one of the 4 that would create the most taxation on your body, I would lean towards the strength endurance work. I feel like it puts the highest demand on the body overall, probably more than the other 3. If I had to,
if you're going down the lane of CrossFit,
exactly.
If you're going down the lane of cross, it's like because now you're not balancing out your program, and that's super important for longevity. But we'll get into the nitty gritty of all of that in some other episodes. But we just wanted to introduce the different types of strength so you have an overall understanding.
Absolutely.
Now, why does this matter? Because strength long term is what creates quality of life. Why? Because as we age, if we're not protecting our strength, we'll get weaker and we'll be more susceptible to injuries. 1 in 4 elderly people over the age of 65 fall. And once you fall one time, you double the likelihood of those falls happening again. And when the elderly people fall, they'll break their hips, break their legs, arms, and the recovery process, if you didn't have a foundation in strength, can be, it can get, things get dicey there.
It can get very dicey, right? So again, that recovery time is what we're talking about, right? If you have a great foundation of strength, your likelihood of recovering from said fall, right, is going to be very high, very high.
Much higher than otherwise. And you see this, decade to decade. The people that are actually trying to maintain strength, even if their motivation is for aesthetics, by 30, that gap gets wider. 40, that gap gets even wider. 50, there's a significant difference between the people that were doing something and the people that were doing nothing. I mean, look around. You guys have aunts, uncles. If you're a person in your 40s, 50s, you know what side of the spectrum you're on. You can look around and be like, yeah, I probably wasn't doing shit, or like, nah, I've been on it. Like, my friends can't keep up with me. So we bring this up, even though 65 seems like an eon away. If you don't start to build those habits and practices now, it becomes increasingly more difficult to get into a rhythm later on in life. And you want to make sure that you're on the side of the spectrum that is still able to move and do things with your body as you age. Because we're going to live a long time. Modern medicine is incredible. Like they can keep you alive for a very long time, but what does your life look like? If you can't move and you're spending most of your time just laid up, that's no kind of life.
Yeah, I mean, just talking to that is looking at just your peers alone will put things in perspective for you extremely quickly, right? We all graduated high school with a class. You go back for your 10-year reunion, you see your peers. You go back for that 20-year reunion, you start looking at your peers. How are they looking like when they were 18 now? Huge difference, especially in America, right? We have 1 in 3 people in America are declared obese, right?
It's 1 in 3.
One in three.
It feels like it should be higher. Well, not that it should be. I think it's higher. But
They have 1 in 3 or obese. I
yeah,
might be speaking to morbidly obese as well. I have to clarify that.
yeah.
But
We'll fact check. Don't worry.
we'll fact
We'll
check.
come back. We'll
We'll
come
come
back.
back check. But regardless of the point, it's still way too high,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's pretty bad.
And you don't really have to look very far to see those numbers in your day-to-day life, right? Just like you were talking about.
Walk outside.
Walk outside. Take a walk out in your neighborhood. Look at you directly in your family. Look at your coworkers, right? Look at your significant other even, right? It's all right there, right in front of you. So that's why we're stressing upon strength so much, because it's not going to just affect you, but it could affect others that are directly around you,
Yeah,
right?
and strength comes from muscle, and muscle has a metabolic component to it, meaning that if you have more muscle, you're gonna burn more calories than you otherwise would. So this is also super, super, super important. So anybody who doesn't care about, 1 rep max, or being able to perform like a CrossFit athlete, or throw something heavy up over their head like a Olympic lifter, like if you have aesthetic goals and you just want to look good with clothes on or without clothes on, like you need to have muscle. Like just losing weight is not going to make you look or feel the way you think. If you have no muscle, then you're just skinny fat.
Yep.
And that's not sexy. Let's
Exactly.
be very clear.
Absolutely.
Like nobody looks for that. When you look at the people who are the epitome of fitness, they all have muscle. And that's not from, doing just cardio. It's because they practice some form of strength training, which allows them to build and maintain the muscle that they have. So if that's not something that's a priority for you in your training, then you're missing a huge chunk of it, because a lot of the calories you're going to burn throughout the day are just through daily movement. So if you have more muscle, you're going to get more from all the things that you're doing anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, just kind of speaking to that, right? Is a lot of times we get caught up with the number that's on the scale, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
Every time somebody wants to think about their health, they directly correlate it to the number that they see on the scale. And I think between the both of us, we have this conversation with clients all the time.
Yeah.
You're going to quantify strength and health more by the composition of your body than you will by the number on the scale.
Look at body fat.
Yes. So your body composition is going to be much more of a driving force than that number that you see every day that's probably driving you crazy, right? We don't want to get caught up in that. It's too much, right? There's mental taxation, it's psychological, it could have a negative psychological effect on you, right? If you get caught up in that number, chasing that number all the time. Right?
Because muscle weighs more than fat. So as
Absolutely.
you're building muscle, that number on the scale might not change, but the way you fit in your clothes will. And that's what matters more. And a lot of people, I don't think, get that. So they get stuck in this cycle of, okay, I didn't drop X amount of pounds in this period of time. I'm wasting my time. Then they quit. No, stay the course, focus on building strength, and that's going to in turn lead to you building muscle. And you're going to like the way you look, but more importantly, you're going to like the way you feel, because building strength is going to feel very different. Every step is going to feel very different. Subconsciously, we know how strong we are. So the person who is working out and taking care of their strength and also cardiovascular fitness, when they get to a set of stairs in the escalator, they'll see the stairs and be like, no, no problem, I'm up there. But if you haven't been doing anything, you're gonna see that escalator and be like, that looks way better.
A
Let
hundred
me do,
percent.
yeah,
And that's a great point, right? Is people don't understand how it directly affects their everyday lives. Like
yeah.
small little choices that they make that otherwise would not, right? They have a ton of groceries coming out of the trunk of their car and they look at them. Am I gonna make 4 trips? I'm gonna make 2 trips, or can I make 1 trip? And can I get all these groceries to the house right now? You know how many clients I've spoken to
One trip,
where they are 1 trip
one
now.
trip.
Right. And that's the kind of stuff we want to talk about, right? Is how it positively affects every single thing that you do every day.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. You got a kid that went from he's 4, now all of a sudden he's 8, and all of a sudden he weighs 60, 70 pounds now, but he still wants to get picked up. What are you gonna do? Right? Are you gonna
say
tell
I
sorry,
can't, I can't
help
pick you
I
up.
can't
My
pick
my
you up
back,
anymore.
my neck. I
Exactly.
don't got it. That's never
And
gonna
that's
be me.
and that's the what I want to talk about is how we quantify strength, right? We're not quantifying strength by particularly how much weight you're able to move, right? Because we've already discussed that there's plenty of ways that you can get stronger without specifically adding what external load,
hmm
right? And so that's the kind of stuff that we want to press upon our clients, everybody out there, is that there's plenty of ways that you can quantify strength. It doesn't always have to correlate to just more weight.
Yeah,
There's plenty of ways to get stronger.
and
Plenty
you
of
have
ways.
to make it practical. Like if it's not going to help you in your everyday life, then don't put yourself at risk. Do things that make sense for you and the type of activities you like to do outside of the gym. Like he was talking about picking up your kids. Like, think about what that movement pattern looks like. What kind of strength do you need to be able to have to perform that consistently? And practice that with what you do in the gym. That's another thing too, just the mindset that you have going into the gym. When you're doing a workout, you're actually practicing movement patterns. It's more of a practice. Every set, every rep is you practicing and reinforcing those movement patterns, because if you don't use it and continue to develop it, maintain it, then it's gone. Your body is extremely lazy. And muscle, I said, has a metabolic component, means it demands energy. So if you're not going to use it, your body's going to be like, you know what, this is a waste of energy for me to maintain. Let me get rid of it.
Absolutely. Let me get rid of it. Absolutely. And that's why we talk about at least I talk about a lot with clients, right? It's not always so much about the intensity of how you're doing things every day, right? It's just the consistency aspect, right?
Yeah, it makes
It makes a huge difference, right? So I like to put it in terms like this, right? Instead of going to the gym once a week, maybe even twice a week, right, and performing at like 90% and trying to give everything you got, thinking that that's what's going to get you through the rest of your life, why not approach it as working at 50, 60%?
consistently.
But doing it consistently and just showing up every single day, working at that capacity.
Have you seen the study on the 15-minute workouts?
Mm-mm.
So it was interesting. They had these test groups. They would work out for 15 minutes every day versus another group who worked out 3 times a week for an hour. The people that worked out 15 minutes a day got better results.
Yep.
Why? Because they were less likely to miss workout.
Yep.
3 hours, if 3 1-hour workouts, if you miss one workout, that's a third of your workouts for the week.
Gone.
But 15 minutes, you don't have to think about, okay, I got to carve out, half an hour to get to the gym, hour to work out, half an hour to shower and get back to wherever I'm going. But 15 minutes, very doable. So over time, people doing 15 minutes a day
We'll receive that compound
accumulated
interest. Yep.
more time
Yep.
under stress and continued that muscle building stimulus and got better results.
And
So I'm not saying scrap the 1-hour workouts.
absolutely.
If you have time, do it, but you have options.
all ends of the spectrum at this point, right?
Oh, hey, you know my client that I started with, he's 6th grade, savage,
Beast. You get these kids.
nationally ranked squash player, and this kid comes in at 6 a.m. in the morning, ready to work. He trains 6 days a week playing squash, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna train 5 days a week at 6 a.m." I'm like, "Whoa, this kid is just different." But
But
he wants to do it.
But he's laying the foundation for a lifestyle that is going to be easier, less likelihood for injury as he gets older, right? He's going to be more confident, right? Aesthetically, he's going to look good, right? So he's getting all the benefits of why we're here, strength,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And imagine laying that foundation early, not just, I guess, going back to like the kid aspect, right? As a parent, your kids are always going to do what? They do what they see,
Yep.
right? So if you're a parent out there, grandparent, right? You're an aunt, you're an uncle, and you have all these nieces, nephews, kids, and they're all looking at you. They're gonna do what you do. They're gonna follow you. Like that, you got a son, man. You understand
Who
it.
did you see working out that got you into working out?
So my short story for training, like lo and behold, I actually did not work out in high school.
Yeah.
I did not touch weights.
Yeah.
At all. I was show up, Bowie Miles. I play sports.
Mhm.
That's what I do, right? Just give me the rock kind of thing, right? That's okay. But when I got to college, I realized very quickly that raw athleticism is not going to get you really far, right?
No, because now you're competing against the world.
Exactly. So I'm going to give a shout out to my guy. His name is Jamie Luckett. I'm going to make sure I get him tagged in here because he was amazing. He was a nationally ranked wrestler who also played on the football team.
Shout out to all my wrestlers.
There you go.
Built different.
I'm giving you a little shout there. He realized very quickly what I was missing in my game, but also realized how I was pretty talented.
Yeah.
Back in the day. I'm a little old and washed up now. But exactly. But he literally pulled me into the gym. I'm talking about physically, hand, like you're going to get this work and you're going to learn how it's going to affect you, not now, but on the field, outside of the gym, everywhere. And I won't lie to you, after about 30 days, there was no going back. And it was crazy because it wasn't like I was motivated for myself. I was motivated because I saw what he was doing. And
Yeah.
I followed suit. And that was at 18 years old. So I was already developed as a teenager.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm still a child at heart. I'm still going to do what I see. Right. And if I'm doing that at 18, I can only imagine what kids are looking at 10, 11, 12, 13, when they see their parents, aunts, uncles, and what they're doing. They're going to follow suit.
Yeah.
How many fit dads and fit moms have fit children?
I mean,
It goes hand in hand, right? You don't see one without the other.
listen, I have a couple I train. We do online coaching, and it's changed their family dynamic. I train the husband and the wife, and when I started with the mom, she couldn't do push-up. Now she's knocking out like 15 push-ups in a set. Her deadlift went from 75 pounds to 185 pounds. And she was telling me, she sent me a text the other day. She's like, I was in the kitchen making dinner. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to knock out a set of push-ups. Her kids look at her different.
Exactly, man.
Her and her husband are in there hanging from the pull-up bar.
Yes.
Of course, the kids going to follow suit.
Exactly. They're
Like-
going to do what they see.
And that was rewarding for me.
Exactly. And
They go on walks together. Like
yes.
everything is different now.
I mean, look, I got this one. This is an amazing story here. I had this one gentleman. I trained the husband and the wife, right?
Yeah.
And they send me videos with the kids and stuff all the time.
Right,
It's
right,
fun, right. I got this video a few weeks ago. He had his son resting on top of his shoulders, right? And he starts taking off on the sidewalk doing walking lunges with the kid on top of
Let's
his shoulders.
go.
And he's just chilling. And looks at the camera, doesn't breathe hard, just looks, and he's like, ciao, cuts off the camera.
Nice.
And I'm just like, the fact that he just was able to do that gave him self-confidence as a dad, but his son on top of his shoulder now is realizing like,
My dad's a beast.
my dad's the man and I want to follow suit.
Yeah.
So we're not just telling you that strength is important just for yourself. This is why I keep coming back to this point that it's not just affecting you, but it's affecting others that are around you.
Everybody around you.
Everybody around you is going to have a positive effect because you got stronger, you got more confident, you're moving better, you're living a better and healthier lifestyle. Why would
You're
they not want-
happier.
Absolutely. Why would you not want to follow suit?
Right.
So that's why we say strength we trust, right? Because if you trust in strength, strength is only going to give you positive feedback on
Yep.
life.
Yep.
It's never going to fail you, right?
Yeah.
I've never heard somebody say, I'm stronger, life is worse.
it doesn't work
They
like
don't
that.
go together.
It doesn't work like
It
that
doesn't
at
work
all.
like that, right? I've never heard somebody say, "Man, I'm stronger. This sucks." What? Never.
The only thing that sucks when the weights get heavy and the workouts get
So,
harder.
absolutely.
But you also get mentally tougher.
Absolutely.
So you accept that that's gonna come with it.
Absolutely. And so I guess we can tie that all in is just not just the importance of strength now, but the importance of strength for life.
Yeah.
Right? 30, 35, 40. They think that life is now all of a sudden over now, right? I'm like, no, you have a whole nother life that you have to get
I
through.
saw this reel that speaks to your point. They're saying like they were talking about how like people in their 30s are like, oh, I'm old now. Or 40s, I'm old now. It's because you feel old. Because
Absolutely.
your joints feel old.
Yep.
You like things ache.
Yep.
That's because you're not doing the right things. But if you don't feel old, like age is just a number. There's this guy I worked with for a long time. He's in his late 60s, and he's like, look, it's all a mindset. I'm moving, I'm doing things, like I feel great. I actually feel better than I did when I was younger. Because now, he's retired. Like he works out all the time. Before he was just working all the time.
Exactly.
He's like, I feel amazing.
We just want you to understand that, yes, there's priorities in life. There's things you have to take care of. We all have responsibilities. There's things we have to wake up. We have to go to work. We have to take care of our family, right? We have responsibilities. And those are all fine. But you're going to be able to better handle those responsibilities by being stronger.
Yeah. But just to add on and just kind of tie it all together, make strength the priority of your fitness journey. Everything that you do should support you being stronger. So that means sleeping enough so you can have a quality workout, having the nutrition to support that, managing your stress, the types of workouts that you do for yourself, all your relationships should support you being stronger with the things that you're doing in your workouts. If you do that, you will succeed.
Absolutely. Strength will never fail you. At the end of the day, strength will never fail you.
There it is.
Absolutely. And I think that's a good way to just kind of tie it all in there, man. And just understand the importance of it, how to go about doing it, and just living a better life, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think I think that's a great way to tie it all back in, my man.
Yeah. So when we come back, we're gonna talk about different avenues that you can take to achieve this, because we have tons of resources at our disposal today, and it's hard to know which one is going to be appropriate for you. So we'll talk about all the different avenues that you have, all the different resources that you have, and get into a little bit more about those things, and then that will help you decide, okay, where do I start? And once you start, the name of the game is, how do I stay in the game? How do I keep going? Because once you figure that out, you'll be good. You'll be well on your way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we can leave it at that for them there.
Yep. So check us out at Strength We Trust on all social media platforms.
YouTube, Instagram. Any email inquiries, anybody has any questions, please feel free to send, I should say, articulate myself a little better. My Instagram handle is MikeFit19, MikeFit 19, and my boy Rashawn here.
At Rashawn.English. That's RISHAUN.English. Find me on Instagram, mainly on Instagram. I'll get the other platform sorted out, but mainly follow our podcast. Give us a like, give us a follow, support what we're doing, because we're trying to support you. We're not asking you for anything monetarily, but just support us, and we'll continue to put out this information to help you with your fitness journey.
Yeah, at the end of the day, man, strength we trust.
You know the vibes.
Let's get it.
SWT, sweat, baby.
Sweat, baby.
Sweat.